So I hope you've been watching our 2-hour-long visitor impressions video of the Dream Air that I published not long ago. We showcased both the SLAM version with 4 tracking cameras and the Lighthouse version supporting base station tracking. One of these SLAM track samples from CES ended up in Sweden at my office desk over here. In fact, this is the sample that Linus from LTT was testing in our booth. Yeah, I think I still have some fingerprints from Linus. While thousands of visitors got to see and try the Dream Air at CES, most of you were not able to, of course, and the majority of you have never even seen the specific pre-production Dream Air sample up close. So in this video, I wanted to give you a more detailed look at this SLAM-tracked Dream Air sample, showing you the changes made from the previous DVT samples, the fine design details in 4K, and also some software-related aspects such as the resolution numbers and how the SLAM tracking and eye tracking performs, which many of you has been asking for. So let's dig into it. Starting with the front plate, or the front side, compared to the old DVT sample, apart from the obvious fact that this SLAM version has 4 tracking cameras, there are a few minor changes to the front plate. First off, the sharp edges we saw on the DVT sample are now gone. The new design has rounded edges from all the angles, which looks more modern and feels better in my opinion. It may be hard to see on camera, but at least it's easier to spot the more rounded corners by looking from below or from the underside. This was something I remember Robin was planning to improve ever since the summer last year, I think. The chrome chevron is unchanged from the DVT. There are no RGB lights integrated to illuminate these chevron, and I still haven't heard if there are any plans for that. Personally, I think it just looks better with just the chrome chevron. Furthermore, there are 4 vents or ventilation grills, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom of the headset unit. They're obviously there to allow airflow, since the device uses active cooling with 2 fans inside, one for each micro OLED panel to stay cool and to not overheat. Regarding these fans, I've been testing this sample for more than a week now, and I haven't noticed the fan speed up even once, so it looks like either the device stays cool enough or the fans are just very quiet. The 2-way button on the bottom of the Dream Air does control IPD adjustments by default, but the plan is to make it remappable so that you can choose action, either IPD adjustment, volume adjustment, or maybe even custom mapping. Now, I will remove the facial interface because we'll get to that later in this video. First, let's check the headset from the other side. As you can tell, this is not a final sample, so the metal frame is still neither painted nor covered up. It does look a bit rough in the edges, but of course, it will look better upon final batches. As you can tell, the optical stack and its concave view pancake lenses looks huge on such a small device. It's quite amazing that it all fits in there. The frame around the lenses have built-in Tobii eye tracking containing 1 high-speed camera per lens and a bunch of infrared sensors spread across the frame. But more about eye tracking in a moment. At the top, we see the additional USB-C port meant for future accessories and third-party add-ons, maybe face tracking or similar. Also, it can be used to connect your own headphones or earbuds through USB. The 2 screw holes are meant to be used with an upcoming Halo design strap for the Dream Air and maybe also other peripherals, who knows. There are 2 more USB-C ports on this headset, one used for the uncompressed DisplayPort's video signal and the other for the USB data, such as tracking and eye tracking calculations. These 2 USB-C ports are located on each side of the Dream Air, and here is where the strap arms are connected to the headset with a locking mechanism. Push the small release latch and you can disconnect the strap arms from the headset. And yeah, I remember what happened once or twice. Anyway, it's a pre-production CES sample, alright guys? It's been through a war, it survived, it's here, it's working. It's just that little hatch that broke, okay? Let's forget about it. Now, due to the facts I just mentioned, there is some tape here and there, and the finer details are still not finalized. As I said, pre-production sample. Anyway, the USB-C connector and cables are simply built into the arms of the strap, one on each side, which means if you replace the strap, you will also replace the cable. There will be several other straps released, which Yap also announced not long ago in his video, but for now this is the simple 2D strap or soft strap that was used on all Dream Air samples during CES 2026. And I have to say, I'm almost surprised by the overly positive feedback we got on this strap. The vast majority of people trying Dream Air said it was very light, easy to fit and comfortable. Oh, and that soft strap will be improved upon final after some specific feedback we got. It will have longer adjustments supporting all kinds of head sizes and haircuts. The soft part or the fabric part of the strap can be easily disconnected or replaced with other variants. Push that little release latch and pull out the strap from the arm. A simple but very clever solution. Note that the cables are still running through the arms, which means even when using this standard 2D soft strap, there are huge possibilities for other kinds of straps easily being developed by third-party companies, because the arms including their cables are not really dependent on the type of the strap you plug in. Obviously, the announced DMAS compatible strap, as well as the Halo design strap, will have its own types of arms included that connects all the way to the main unit or the headset. As you can see, both USB-C cables merge into one thicker cable, approximately 20 to 25 centimeters from the end of the arm and onwards. This thicker cable is right now 4 meters long, from the merging point to the other end, according to my own measurements, and the other end has one single USB-C connector. That USB is then connected to the included split box, let's call it split box, with a locking mechanism. The split box then splits the video and USB signal into 2 cables again, with DisplayPort connector at one end and USB 3 Type A at the other end. The 2 cables coming out of the split box on the other side are approximately 50 centimeters long, which means that the entire cable length from the headset to the PC is roughly 4.5 meters, or close to 15 feet, I think. And yes, the split box needs to be externally powered with an included power cable and adapter, which by the way is identical to the one used with Crystal Super and Crystal Light. Now let's have a look at those strap arms again. Here we can spot the integrated spatial audio speakers. They are built in directly into the strap arm to keep it minimalistic and lightweight, providing immersive open-air 3D sound. And I gotta say, I am impressed. The integrated audio is surprisingly good. Obviously not DMAS level maybe, especially not the volume and the bass, but almost shockingly good considering the small form factor. And we also got some very good feedback from several visitors at CES, despite the loud environment in the booth. From what I can tell, the audio not only comes out from the bottom side of the arm, but also through the 2 openings on the inside, attacking from different angles, so to say, probably contributing to that 3D effect. Now, let's bring back the facial interface and talk about it. Dream Air received overly positive feedback at CES, but it also got a few remarks and complaints. Almost all of those complaints were about the facial gasket or the facial interface that has some dramatic changes from how it looked and felt on our previous DVT samples. The new facial interface is now seemingly better looking and with a softer face mask, but those changes made it hard to extract the full field of view of the Dream Air due to its size, stiffness and the face mask being a bit too thick. Now, thanks to your feedback, these issues has been addressed, and according to Yap and his recent video update, Pimax is making a completely new facial interface which is redesigned, softer, more comfortable and not limiting the field of view visibility. Therefore, there's no point looking closer at this facial interface, at least not this version. All I can mention here is that it's easy to put on and it holds well thanks to the magnet in the middle. Now, let's plug in this thing to my PC and let me tell you 3 things that might not have been mentioned a lot during CES. First off, the SLAM tracking, or the inside-out tracking with the 4 cameras. Many of you have been asking me how well it performs, especially compared to the Crystal Lite and the Crystal Super that uses the same SLAM tracking. Well, I honestly cannot spot any difference between the tracking of these headsets. Tracking feels solid and accurate. There is no jittering, no shaking and no drifting from what I can tell at least. Of course, SLAM tracking is still getting improved and it's still not as 100% reliable as lighthouse tracking might be, but I think it's just a matter of time until we nail down the SLAM tracking algorithm to the point that lighthouses becomes completely unnecessary. Either way, as of now, when doing many of these well-known maneuvers, I never saw tracking failing on me. Neither in SteamVR nor in games. It works very good in dim lighted environments too, as you can tell here, but I wouldn't recommend playing in complete darkness, since we are still using cameras to track your head and hand movements and your location, of course. So if you ask me if this is equivalent to the Crystal Lite or Crystal Super tracking, then I would say yes, absolutely. The Tobii eye tracking is solid as well. When doing the calibration, I feel it's just as fast and accurate as Crystal Super eye tracking. Obviously, both are using Tobii eye tracking, but since the eye tracking cameras are now on the outside of the Dream Air pancake lenses compared to the Crystal Lite and the Super where the cameras are inside, many people fear that it would affect accuracy. I can tell you straight away that the Dream Air eye tracking performs more or less identical with the other headsets, and I'm sure it will keep improving with the new updates. Already now, running eye tracking calibration reveals the same impressive performance, and with DFR and quad views, it works flawless in DCS World, for example, from my initial tests. One more thing before we wrap up. The rendered resolution. You may remember my old videos testing the Dream Air DVT samples, messing with distortion profiles and so on. Back then, the rendered resolution at default Pimax Play image quality 1.0 was 4980 by 3992 pixels per eye, roughly 5000 by 4000 pixels. Today, with the CES samples and current distortion profile we have been running at CES, the base resolution was 4984 by 4088 pixels per eye. So still kinda 5000 by 4000 pixels per eye. A few more pixels have been used with this profile compared to before, but still a very efficient and GPU-friendly profile, giving you a nice performance boost from the 50 ppd version. And meanwhile, the Dream Air is even producing a better, a sharper and more crisp and an image with better clarity overall compared to the 50 ppd, despite a much lower resolution render. Remember, this is just one default profile I have here from this sample from CES, and we will have multiple profiles available with different field of view modes and binocular overlaps, which all utilize somewhat different base resolutions. Oh, and here are the RISA 2000 values for that default profile that is currently used. It gives us around 103 degrees horizontally, 88 degrees vertically, and the overlap is 95 degrees, creating approximately 92% binocular overlap. Pretty surprising, don't you think? Especially considering nobody really nitpicked or complained about the field of view at CES. Some people actually said it was huge. Either way, I am confident we will see bigger numbers in other available profiles soon. We have already proven before that we can run the Dream Air with at least 112 degrees horizontally, which gives us roughly 10 more horizontal degrees from what we can see here right now. Alright, more in-depth geeky stuff will be presented soon, especially also when I get my hands on the final first batch units, both of the Lighthouse tracked Dream Air as well as this SLAM version. Meanwhile, I hope you got some valuable information out of this video and hopefully also some of your questions answered. If you have any other questions or maybe some requests for upcoming videos, please let me know in the comments down here below. For now, that's all I have. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. In fact, this is the sample that Linus from LTT was testing in our booth. Yeah, I still can feel. Okay. Ja, vad dumt. Jag kommer alldeles strax. Jag kommer nu. Jag kommer alldeles strax. Jag kommer nu.